Today, we're cracking open the first episode of the Rings of Power, so let's start without wasting time. The episode starts with the glimpses of a young Galadriel in the idyllic realm of Valinor, where elves live in harmony. Young Galadriel builds a paper boat, symbolizing her yearning for adventure. Her brother Finrod teaches her a valuable lesson: a stone sinks because it looks down into the darkness, while a boat floats because it looks up to the light. This metaphor foreshadows Galadriel's future struggles with darkness and hope. The scene cuts to a desolate, icy wasteland in the far north. Galadriel, now a hardened warrior elf, leads a company of elves on a relentless hunt for Sauron, the Dark Lord who remains elusive. They discover an abandoned orc citadel bearing Sauron's sigil, confirming his presence in the region. Galadriel, consumed by vengeance for her brother's death at Sauron's hands, demands they continue north despite her companion's exhaustion and doubts. A snow troll attacks, leading to a fierce fight. Galadriel's relentless pursuit of Sauron despite the doubts of her companions and the harsh environment. In the next scene we're introduced to the Harfoots, a nomadic, hobbit-like race. We then meet two young Harfoots, Nori Brandyfoot and Poppy Proudfellow, skipping merrily through the fields. Dressed in earthy tones and adorned with wildflowers, they exude an innocent wonder that instantly draws the viewer in. Their playful banter and carefree laughter paint a picture of a close-knit community where simple joys are cherished. This scene introduces Nori's rebellious spirit and thirst for adventure, which will drive much of her storyline. We shift to the elven realm of Lindon, where Elrond, a skilled architect and craftsman, works on a grand construction project. We're introduced to Gil-galad, the High King of the Elves, who discusses the upcoming departure of the elves to the Undying Lands with Elrond. Galadriel's recent defiance and continued pursuit of Sauron become a point of concern, causing tension between Elrond and Gil-galad. Although Galadriel is obstinate, she is not stupid. She cannot fight Sauron with just her brother's dagger, nor will she be able to endure the snowy conditions on her own. She therefore temporarily abandons her mission in order to visit Lindon, the High Elven capital, where she reunites with an old acquaintance, Elrond, who many will know as the future ruler of Rivendell Elf and Arwen's father. However, he is still quite young, having been born many years before his daughter and the Fellowship of the Ring of the Third Age. He tells Galadriel that the High King Gil-galad is not very happy with her insistence on pursuing Sauron, putting not only her own life and limb in danger but also the lives of the army. Since she has consistently disregarded all obstacles in her path, the king's praise for her accomplishments is more of a kindness than a sincere congrats. Galadriel finds it difficult to control her instincts during the ritual. She refuses to kneel down for the monarch as he bends to place a gold wreath on her head, their gazes engaged in a quiet struggle for supremacy. Even Galadriel cannot contain her emotions when, at last, he declares that she and the other soldiers will be rewarded for their valor with a journey to Valinor, to the Undying Lands. She has been longing for Valinor, her home, for centuries. Maybe only Elrond knows the dilemma this places her in. Should she pursue her greatest want or complete the task she vowed to do with her brother's corpse? The following scene continues in another location, Tirharad of the Southlands. The relationship between elves and humans is precariously precarious. We are introduced to Arondir, a sylvan elf from Mirkwood whose job it is to survey the Southlands and, effectively, keep an eye on the humans, many of whom had ancestors who battled for Morgoth in the past. For the elves, who live far longer than humans, the past does not feel as far away as it does for humans, who feel stifled and unfairly oppressed because of ancient grievances. A Bargoa spits on Arondir's face, saying, "One day, our true king will return, and pry us right out from under your pointy boots." The elf, however, is not offended by his impudence because he has been becoming friendly with a few of these underlings, especially the human woman Bronwyn, with whom he has developed a flirtatious relationship like to Arwen and Arrogant. Like the miserable few elf and men pairings before it, Arondir's fellow elven scout is certain that this union will end in death. However, Arondir has little time to justify his feelings before word arrives from the High King. The war is deemed to be concluded now that Galadriel and her companions are sailing to the Undying Lands. The elves will depart the Southlands and head back home when the outposts are dissolved. The patrolman is told by Arondir's watch warden to be thankful since the blood of those who stood with Morgoth still darkens their veins, meaning he need never see humans again. Arondir disagrees that people are fundamentally bad, therefore if that were the case, why does he find Bronwyn so attractive? Yes, it might be because her son appears to be hiding a wicked sword in the barn floorboards, but she also seems kind. As they investigate the town where Bronwyn grew up, which is close and home to enigmatic evil forces, Rondir gently questions Bronwyn over her people's ties to Morgoth. The very mention of the villain's name offends her. Her people are decent people. Arondir concurs, but he is unaware of that sword as of yet. Far away, in the country of Rovanian, the wandering Harfoots, hobbit relatives with equally hairy feet, come out of their hiding spots in a charming scene of whimsical cottagecore. The rich vegetation of their surrounds is physically woven into their clothing and furniture. Their faces are flushed and streaked with dirt, their hair is tufted and uncombed, and their baskets, wheelbarrows, and bowls are filled with root vegetables, berries, and snails. Here, we first meet Nori, our Bilbo's Frodo stand-in, who is the only member of her family who appears eager for an exciting trip, as any Baggins would approve of. Her chuckles interject throughout Bear McCreary's magnificent soundtrack, which is likely to become a study group favorite worldwide. After being chastised by her fellow Harfoots for her excessive curiosity, Sadok Burrows, a Harfoot elder, eventually divulges some tasty local lore. These days, the stars and the heavens appear peculiar. And those who went past with enormous antlers on their backs? An uncommon sight at this season. There's a problem. There's going to be an event. A meteor that is visible from every part of Middle-earth shoots across the sky, and something truly amazing occurs. The stranger, a man who is left unconscious and encircled in a quivering wheel of fire within the rock's crater, is brought with it as it lands in Rovanian with an explosive blast. We don't yet know if he is a giant, human, or wizard. All we know is that his spectacular arrival is an obvious parody of Stardust. Peel out a check, Neil Gaiman. But let's go back to the golden-haired girl. When Galadriel eventually sets ship for the Undying Lands in the realm of elves, Elrond worries about whether he was able to persuade her to make the correct decision. Gil-galad dismisses his worries, believing that if Galadriel had gone on looking for Sauron, she would have simply helped to spread the very evil that she was trying to destroy. Instead, he gives Elrond a job working for the renowned elven smith Celebrimbor, who is about to embark on a new project.